Michelle, congrats on Flight Risk. This movie was such a fun watch, and the plane's definitely a character in this film. How was it filming in that, pretty small space with three people in it? I assume that kind of makes you all close, not just in proximity, but when you're sharing so many scenes with the same two people. How was that experience?
Yeah, it was a really unusual experience. First of all, your backdrop is absolutely brilliant. It is like being back on set again, looking at you. It was really unusual to be doing something in such a tight space like that with just two other actors. And a lot of the time we were in that space with our camera team as well. So a lot of it was, navigating the space between each department actually, and we, as not just as actors but as a company in such a short space of time, we were all in a very, very tight space. And so there are also advantages to that as an actor, because you are just stable in one spot. You don't have to think about where you're walking to, or physically it's actually restrictive, but I found it quite liberating in some ways, that you could only really sort of turn left to right. And um but when it starts to become the situation becomes much more intense, moving around could be quite a challenge. You couldn't stand all the way upright, and those fight sequences, weren't easy, because you were in such a small space. So we had to kind of contain the choreography of them. But it was a really, really
Yeah,
unique way of working.
I wanted to ask about that because you have these great like hand-to-hand combat sequences with Mark Wahlberg in the film, but you're in such an enclosed space. How was it figuring that out? He's done so many action films, but that had to be even a new, challenge for him as well.
Yeah, well, he has clearly a really great stunt team that he's worked with for a long, long time, and they have a shorthand, that it felt like the choreography was I was in a very safe space, because they knew what to do in that contained space. So a lot of it was like um, finding moves that were smaller, as a way of kind of making it look as intense as possible, um, but having to kind of make it a lot smaller, which I think would be the case if you were on such a small space.
And it's great seeing Mel behind the camera again. And this film's so tense, but it's also very fun. It's got a really nice balance between those two. What really stood out about him as a director and finding that tone throughout the film?
Yeah, I mean, he is an incredible director, and a director with, such experience, and um his attention to detail is just, it's wonderful to watch and to work with. Um, but there's a humor, like you say, there's a real sort of humor behind it. And I think that also comes from um, his his personality, and it's finding those kind of moments of levity in a film that is really intense, and it's something that he's very good at. Um, and really gives you space as an actor to kind of explore the scene, and the emotional moments within the film. And for me, it was really, wonderful to work with.